In the last episode, we returned to North Wales. We stayed the night at Carnarvon and took a walking tour of this fascinating historic fortress town. You join us the following morning as we're getting ready to resume our coast adventure. Stick around for more of that great road you just saw and the interesting village at the bottom of it. Lovely, isn't it?
Absolutely stunning.
Goodbye, Carnarvon.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Till next time. Very nice. Got the early morning sun again.
Look at that. So the plan for today is to get to Barmouth. We won't get there in this episode. Most of our days are split into at least 2 episodes. Sometimes more, depending on how much there is to see. But we don't know what this little peninsula is called. We will find out and put it on the screen. But below Anglesey, there's a little peninsula, like a finger. And it's quite big. If you look at it, it's pretty much looks like it could be as much mileage to get around as Anglesey was, and Anglesey took us the best part of a whole day.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
But we are hoping to get beyond that to Barmouth this evening. And this down here, as you might be able to see,
the other side.
Yeah, look from the.
Yes.
It's a wonderful coast road, and we're basically, this is the other side. So this is where we were last night.
Very nice.
It's a lovely town, isn't it? It's layered.
Yes.
Everything's within very easy walking distance, and yet every corner you turn there's something else to discover. And because it's got the layers, it's got the castle. We didn't even do the castle, but we've done it in the past. But just wandering around the town is wonderful.
Good morning, van lifers.
Wakey, wakey.
Yes. I do believe that seaweed right there is called Fucosporellus. No, honestly, I learnt it on a biology field trip, and that is definitely it. 99% sure.
It's amazing how that's stuck in your brain.
No comment.
Are you watching this episode on the day it was put up on YouTube, the 1st of March? If so, then you may know it's St David's Day. St David is the patron saint of Wales. We had hoped to coincide this day with when we visit the tiny cathedral city of St David's, but you'll have to wait a few more weeks for that. Today, people, especially the Welsh, will be celebrating the feast of St David, who died on this day in 589 AD. The feast has been regularly celebrated since the canonisation of David in the 12th century. Traditional activities include wearing daffodils and leeks, and by eating traditional Welsh food. More about St David in a few weeks' time, if and when we get to Pembrokeshire. But for now, a very happy St David's Day to all our Welsh friends.
Okie dokie.
Ready? If you're new to the channel, thanks for watching and getting over 5 minutes into this episode. You may be wondering what it's all about. Well, last year we toured the English and Welsh coastline and thought it might be a good idea to film our travels. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. What started as a half-hearted attempt using our old mobile phones to capture the journey gradually turned into what you're watching now. Take a look at the first few episodes and hopefully you'll see some improvement. We've completed the tour in stages, and including all the return trips, this is day 30 and we've done 4,850 miles. To put that in context, we could have gone to Moscow and back and still had nearly 1,000 miles to spare. Not convinced? Google the coastline paradox or watch episode 40 where we explain why the miles add up and why we had to skip Scotland. As for the filming, by the time you get to the end of this video, we would have uploaded 18 hours of the Coast Adventure series. We're complete camera novices and so work to the principle of taking as much footage as we can, and hopefully there'll be something good to work with in the edit. We have no idea how many hours of footage we have, but I guess it's got to be at least 100 hours. That's a lot of riding and filming, but it's the tip of the iceberg compared with the time spent in what they call post-production. The editing has been a labour of love, but we're now looking forward to the time when we're not working towards the Friday deadline. We're not sure what our plans are after this coast series is complete. Should we continue? What should we do next? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. So, Bristow Search and Rescue, HM Coast Guard. A few official looking places here, aren't there? With the obligatory official looking fence. Wales Air Ambulance. Look at that, I can speak Welsh. Well, I can read it. I know Araf is slow.
Not that we take any notice of it.
It's quite an airfield, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's the runway. Just coming up in line with it very shortly, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yes. What a stunning view.
And the sea, look at it, it's amazing, isn't it? The mountains, the sea, the road.
The sky.
The sky. It might not be sunny, but I hope anyone watching this can appreciate the atmosphere that's here.
I sneezed inside my helmet, and so now I don't know whether I've got rain on the front of the helmet or sneeze. Isn't that disgusting?
Yes.
I didn't have a chance to raise the visor, and I gave you my tissue to wipe the wet seat.
Oh, I got my hanky. You can have my hanky if you want.
True love. They're right on the coast, aren't they?
Delightful.
Oh, lovely. There's the seaside. Not sandy or anything, I don't think. No, it's shingly, seaweedy, pebbly. Wow, look at that.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Taking himself for a little wander. Little Yorkie. Says, don't get me.
Don't worry, mate, we won't.
Lots of Welsh flags,
Yeah.
lots of welcome signs in Welsh. I believe because it's the Welsh National Week of Eisteddfods. Competitions in dancing and singing and different performances and what have we got here? Up and over.
Yeah, up and over.
To the coast the other side. Let's hope it's worth it. That is phenomenal. I didn't know this little peninsula was like this. What an amazing place, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
It's another hidden gem in Wales. Golly, Wales is absolutely covered in hidden gems, isn't it? Look at this heather and gorse. Absolutely beautiful. Wow.
So this is the place that Phil and V recommended, if I remember rightly. Phil and V, you'll have to tell us if we're correct. But when we met on the Great Orme, you said you shouldn't miss this place.
Yeah.
And we wrote down the name of it. And here we are.
And here we are. And thank you very much. Because it's stunning. Wow. Wow. Water coming down off that cliff. We're going to plunge into the sea. You're going to be alright coming back up?
Yeah, if you're okay.
Oh, tiny little cottage down there with little walled paddocks. Okay,
So we've got a bit of a switchback, but
yeah,
look, they
note
made it
that
ever so easy. Look at that, fantastic.
And we'll be able to take it wide coming up as well.
Fantastic, really good. Look at the waterfall.
Yes. Wow. Gosh. Well, I've never been here before. Are you sure we're going to be alright coming back up?
Yeah.
I'm going to just change sides, I think.
It's another road it said that we should take, but I think they've blocked it off. Up there. No
Seriously?
way. Yeah.
No, it's a
yeah,
track,
no,
isn't
honestly, it's there. But it's a track, there's no way.
I mean, it's not an easy little road, even in a car, is it? You have to get in first gear.
Yeah.
Look at the screen.
No doubt about it, this was one of the unexpected gems of the whole trip.
What a place.
We love challenging roads that cut through dramatic landscapes. The UK doesn't have many compared to most other countries, so it's a real treat when we discover one. The road is steep but has been upgraded to make the drive as easy as possible. Unless you're a very nervous driver, then you should have no problem. However, it's only been like this since 2008. In fact, the line on the sat-nav followed the old road that's barely visible now. The old road was notorious for being too steep for motor vehicles. Horse-drawn sledges were used instead. It became a challenge for cars and motorcycles to try to climb it. The descent may have been terrifying, but with the help of gravity, it was possible. There are stories of cars making it to the bottom only to be abandoned when they couldn't manage the steep and loose climb to get back up again. Eventually, in 1934, a car achieved the feat.
Looks like the path to the beach.
Are we walking, are we?
Yeah, I think we're going to make an effort here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I feel like I deserve a coffee.
Oh, right.
The steep terrain means that the village of Port Nant has historically been very isolated, despite being surrounded by a wider populated community. According to ancient mythology, in the 5th century it provided a refuge for Vortigern, who it is said was married to Severa, the daughter of Magnus Maximus, the Roman emperor we mentioned in the last episode. In the 1770s, Thomas Pennant wrote about a cairn located here that some believe to be Vortigern's grave. The area is known as Nant Gwerthyn, or Vortigern's Gorge. So why does this place exist? Apart from a few fishermen, there was no real settlement here until the 1850s, when the first quarry opened. The Industrial Revolution created demand for granite sets, the chunky squared stones that were used to build cobbled streets. The quarry was very successful, and in 1878 the terraced houses you can see were built for the workers and grew into the village of Port Nant. By the 1890s, there were 3 quarries and 200-ton ships were regularly loaded and transported to the industrial cities before returning with all kinds of products, which weren't available locally for the quarrymen. In the early 20th century, demand for cobbled streets dramatically reduced. Just as the Second World War broke out in 1939, Nant Quarry closed. In 1948 the school closed, and in 1959 the last family left Nant, leaving the village empty. The village became a ghost town, but largely preserved due to the difficulty of access. However, in the late 1960s and 70s it was occupied by the New Atlantis commune of hippies. They caused a lot of damage by burning floors and doors as firewood and covered the walls with graffiti. For anyone with special memories of what it used to be when it was a close-knit quarrying community, this was a very sad sight. When the commune members left the Nant, the buildings were left in ruins. In 1970, Dr. Carl Clews left his specialised job at Christie Hospital, Manchester, to run a single-handed doctor's surgery at Glamorharan. He and his wife Dorothy were determined to raise their children as Welsh speakers, but what he discovered was a community facing an uncertain future, and he felt that something had to be done. He helped save the local school from closure, but if the area was to survive long term, then further action was needed to create new opportunities. Since the first Welsh Language Act came into force in 1967, there was a growing demand for Welsh-speaking staff at many public organisations. His vision was to save both the Welsh language and provide employment, with the idea of a residential centre offering Welsh language courses. This would be a huge undertaking. The buildings at Nant were inaccessible and in ruins, and it wouldn't be easy to convince the owners to let them go for less than market value. But he managed to garner support for his idea, in particular from Mrs. Knox, the wife of the ex-manager of the quarry. Between 1972 and 1978, Dr. Clews and his team worked tirelessly to raise awareness and funds. In July 1978, they managed to buy Nant Gwerthan for the sum of £25,000. But the work had only just begun. Over the next few years they worked hard, and in 1982 the first Welsh lessons were held to the sound of a diesel generator. Since then, the centre has slowly but surely gone from strength to strength to become what you see today. As well as the Welsh Language Centre, there's a great cafe, and the cottages and other buildings can be booked via their website. There's a visitor centre in the old chapel. It opened in 2003 with a concert by the Welsh rock band Super Furry Animals, 2 members of which are Dr. Clews' sons.
Eisteddfod, it's a Welsh festival, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's a festival of arts, and there's like competitions and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do different things. The bardd, and they do the bands, the choirs, the different thing. Children, different ages. They do different songs, and it's all variations into the week.
Yeah.
And the end of the week, it's sort of finish next Saturday.
But is there several Eisteddfods?
It varies all over Wales. Like next year, I think it's down South Wales.
Okay.
It travels every year.
Every year it moves around, but it's only ever in one place. And this year it just
It's here,
happens.
yes,
It's here.
yes.
But you can travel from anywhere in Wales to take
Correct.
part in.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll end this episode with the ride back up the hill. It's actually known as Screw Hill, and back in the day was occasionally used as a motorsport hill climb. You've probably heard YouTubers saying how hills are a lot steeper than they look on camera. Well, it's true. That said, this hill wasn't as daunting as it looked, and certainly not as daunting as some of the hills that are yet to come. We've had a few close shaves with tricky slopes and off-road tracks, but so far I've managed to stay upright. Unfortunately, that's not to last. Join us next week to find out why.
So, what a wonderful place. Thank you, Phil and V, for the recommendation.
Yes, definitely. Amazing. What a road.
Yeah, absolutely. Who needs the Pyrenees?
Exactly. Wow.
Okay, just got to be a little bit careful around this one now. Just taking the inside line on that, not too bad.